What's going on, everybody? Welcome back, and welcome to the continuation or second attempt at putting the oil cooler on the car. So we about to go ahead and get into it. So before I do, I remember I told you guys that I had some previous footage from when I started on this thing. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna play that first, and while we do that, I'm gonna get myself caught up and all the way up until the point where we need to well, where we ended off last time, and then y'all I'll probably allude to it. And you guys already know what issues that I had, and we did a video on a resolution to hopefully this is gonna fix it. So hopefully it does. So while you guys watch all of that, I'm gonna get myself all the way back up until the point where I ended off at in the previous recordings. So sit back, pull out some popcorn, and enjoy what happens. And then I'll continue on where I pretty much where we left off at, and then where we are today. So roll it. All right, so this is what we got. Got ourselves a set of instructions. Now there's also like a, if you wanted to spray paint, no, do you have to spray paint, or this is just stick on there? Yeah, you do have to spray paint. If you wanted to spray paint the word Perrin on the oil cooler, you can do that. I'm not gonna do that, but it did give you a stencil for that. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm more stealthy. I want it to look stealthy. I don't want it to show. But we have the actual the heater core, or the radiator for the oil cooler. We got our two lines, and the cool thing about this is they actually give you the where each hose goes. I thought I was gonna have to ask, but you know, like this one says that this is for the left side, which is the shorter side, and the longer hose is gonna be for the right side. And it tells you from the oil line assembly to the Perrin core on the right side. So this is the longer hose. It tells you where all it goes. We'll figure that out when we get there. You got your two brackets, and of course the license plate, some zip ties, and they do give you like a hose splitter because there's a line we got to a coolant line that we got to freaking deal with, which I'm thinking I want to start there just so it's out of the way, so I don't have to worry about any fluid actually getting into the oil, because we're gonna change the oil anyway. And this is all the hardware. This is a rivet nut, so we can put a threaded hole in there. Now it comes with the cooler and the spacer, and these are just the nuts that you have to put in there to attach these two to the car. Also comes with a little a rubber grommet to go around any of the sharp corners, so that the areas where these hoses run, they don't rub any holes in them. And they give you a little bit of tubing to for your cooler line, which I'm gonna try and do something a little different. Maybe I don't even have to use this, but I did have to order a 25 64th drill bit, and I had to get a 26mm socket, and I had to get a 24mm socket. So hopefully this works. It should be thin walled. One of these is thin walled. Or yeah, this one is thin walled. So this is gonna be the one we're gonna take the other part off with. So hopefully that works out. And I got my oil and everything here. And look at the car. I already took the bumper off, and I got the car up on quick jacks, and it's been there for quite a few days. But now I'm gonna get started on the car. So let's go ahead and continue taking stuff off the front, because we're gonna have to take off this this bash bar, and we're gonna have to take off this cross brace, and then we can actually start figuring out what we're gonna line out. All right, so the first thing we're gonna have to do is we're gonna take off the 8 bolts for the bash bars, 2 up top here, and we got the 2 at the bottom down here. These are 12mm, and it's the same thing on the other side. So I'm gonna pop these off. Go. All right, we got that guy out of the way. And now all we gotta do is take off this corner bolt right here, and that right there, which is a 10mm. All right. Okay, now wait a minute now. Before I go up there, now I'm looking at the instructions, and it's also saying that we need to remove this bar right here. So it says it should be 8 bolts and 6 plastic clips. is definitely it. And then we got to get the plastic tips, plastic clips at the top. That's loose. Actually, there's 4 of them here. That one there. Oh, 1, 3. Let's see. Oh, well, that's it. I ain't had to take that one out. And then this top beam would come off. Dang, I'm sorry, y'all. My camera work is just crazy right now. But that's how that comes off. So we'll put this over to the side. All right, so I got a hose clamp here. It's gonna be almost impossible to get a hose clamp down there for the one down here at the bottom. So we might have a bit of a mess on our hands, but let me see. Let me start loosening up these clamps so that I can get them off here, because we will be reusing these. Pop that off of there. That moves off of there fairly nicely. Let me grab me some rags, some of this fluid here. The car ain't been driven in a while, so I don't know. Pull this thing off of here. Can here. I'm gonna try and get it to where I can at least pop a finger on that thing and cap it off. Losing a little bit, but like I said, I'll keep that right there. And now let's work on this other one. Catch what spills out of here. Loosen this hose up. Just move it from side to side. It should start to come off. It'll be a little easier to slide off. Dang. All right, let's get ready to catch this. Oh, there it is. Not too bad. Not too bad. So now I'm gonna use my little hose pinch here. And let's work on getting this actual oil cooler off of here. As the instruction says, it makes it easier. So I'm gonna take this off. I do got those kind of pinched off, so it should be good there. Minimal spillage. Let's take this thing off here. All right, oil filter is off. Let's take out our ordered sockets, which I will be linking in the description if you need to get some. That's just right. All right, let's go. That wasn't too hard. Popping that off. See if I can get this off here before my battery dies on the camera. All right, there's that guy. He's out of there. Clean him off. And now this entire thing should just come right off. Let's work it a little bit. There we go. So I'm gonna plug up this hole with my finger, pull this out, and there we go. And here we are. So now we're gonna have to do some cleaning in here. Yeah, we're gonna have to use the included hose that they have. So that means I'm gonna have to pull this out of here And we're gonna have to take this hose completely off of there. So let's do that. All right, so here we go. I got the supplied hose and I put that smaller fitting right there with the stock clip that came on that hose. And I'm putting it on here now. And then there we go. That is on there. And so what we're gonna wind up doing here is I'm gonna connect this here just because I want to see how it's gonna go. Yeah. Put this in there. And then I'm gonna put the clamp on there on top of this so it's good. So what I usually do is I put a little oil on here to make it easier to go onto the hose so it doesn't give me too much grief. So let's go on ahead here now. We're gonna take this clamp off. All right, clamp is off. And then we're gonna put this guy right in there. All right, that's all the way down to that stopping point. Look, I gotta watch out about saying the word S-T-O-P because as soon as I said that, the camera turned off on me. I got this GoPro. So now we put our stock clamp on there. So now the bottom half of this is good. So now the only thing we really have to do is kind of work this guy around here. Let me move this clamp right here over to the side. Give me a little bit more wiggle room here. All right, so now I stuffed it back behind here. So now the goal that I'm gonna have to do here is I gotta cut this thing short enough to where it pulls this bottom hose right here, it pulls it out of the way and it keeps it back here, because if not, you risk the chance of that belt hitting this, and we don't want to have coolant all over your belt, just your serpentine belt here. So now I have to try not to make another mess here and pull off this little bottom clamp. Yeah, let's pull that off. Release this clamp down here. If y'all ain't figured this out or not yet, this finna be a long video, dog. I just had to make sure I get all these steps in here so y'all can actually know exactly what to do here. So I'm gonna hold this rag down here whilst I pull this hose up and try to catch as much fluid as I can. There it is. Now it's coming off of there. Let's see if I can catch. Oh. I got a little bit inside of here, but not much. It didn't go down in there. All I gotta do now is just dry it up before we get into that spillage down to the bottom there. So there we go with that part of it. So now let's take this clip off, because I'm definitely going to need that. Uh-oh. And let's try and make a sound measurement on where I need to be with this hose. So I think I'm gonna cut it right there. I'm gonna cut a little further away from that. All right, so that's what we're trying to measure, is this right here. So this is where that line is. Make sure you guys can see that it's right here. Now, if I have it right there and I push this down on there, let me try this. I'm gonna cut it right here, and then let's see what we get. I'm gonna try and cut this thing straight. It'd be nice to have one of them little hose cutters. Let me go ahead and work this on there right now. The way then, once I get it on there, I ain't got to worry about nothing that's already on. All right. So now, push this down on there, and let's see what we're working with here. Okay. All right, so it being there, that gives me the perfect amount of length on that thing. Put my clamp on here. Didn't lose too much fluid, but I'll add a little bit on there. Yeah, that should be it. And there we go. Our hose is there. So now we just completed the bypass portion of the install. So we good to go. Now what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna zip tie this to this line right here. That'll make sure it doesn't slide that way. So I'm gonna get a little zip tie and put that on there, and then we'll move on to the next part of the install. All right, so now we're getting to the part to where we're starting to put the actual, there's a threaded male adapter that we're gonna thread into here. And then we'll put the Perrin, the spacer and the oil cooler that has the thermostat in it on the top there. So we're gonna put this in, screw it down in there. All right, and we're gonna use our 24mm socket. We're gonna torque it down to 25 foot-pounds. Remember, you grab at the end here and that's it. It's 25 foot-pounds. After that, then you get the spacer. So this is our spacer, and we're gonna put a little oil on the little O-ring at the bottom here. All right, oil right there. And then we're gonna put this right on top of there like that. And you can have your Perrin logo facing out so people can see that's what you got. And then the next thing that's going up on here is going to be the actual cooler with the thermostat on there. So you put that on, and we gotta use a 26mm thin wall socket. And we're gonna tighten it on there, but we gotta put a little oil on the back around this. This is the part that's gonna go down because it has the little rubber O-ring on there. So just like with everything else, you're gonna put some oil on there. There we go. And then we're gonna need this little threaded shaft to go on here as well. Now, I'm wondering here, so I'm just gonna put it on here, and it says don't tighten it all the way on yet. We're just going to slide this on. There we go. We're just gonna put it on there like that. Ooh, that's gonna be a tight squeeze. So we're not gonna put it on there tight because we gotta still put the lines on there and run the lines through here. So that's gonna be a whole nother thing. So that part of it is on. And then we get to move on to the next step, which on here is telling us, well, we gotta put the lines on there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start with these lines and try running these lines. So we're gonna start with the one right here. It says, this is the left side. So the left side, and this is the shorter of the hoses. This has the shorter bend at the end. This is what goes into the bottom of the actual core, the radiator for the oil cooler. And then this this sharp 90 is what's going to go at the top. This goes on the left side, which is going to go right over here on this side of the thermostat housing. So from there, we're going to I'm going to run this up through here. Oh, let me see if I can show you guys this. Oh man. All right, so hold on. Okay, so from here at the front of the car, I'm going right around here, right in front of this this window washer fluid container, the reservoir. I'm wondering if I should go here. No, it ain't gonna go in between there. At least I don't think it will. I'm gonna go up here. There's probably gonna be a lot of trial and error because once I start putting stuff on here, I'm gonna know if I got enough length or not. But I'm going up through there and then come up on top. Come up on top here. And then from there, I'm gonna pull this thing up, turn it in the direction that I need it to go. And then we can pull this little cover off of here. And then we can try and thread this thing on here. But now, I'm thinking here that I probably should have waited to put that part on there. Let's take this off. We'll come back to that. Right now, I don't want to mess up anything, so I want to just make sure I'm threading this on there right. It's not messing it up at all. Okay, that's there. I'm still gonna leave it slightly loose just so I can kind of maneuver it around a little bit. And then here, just so you guys know, this part with the insulation on it, this is what's gonna go in between all of this, just in case anything gets rubbed on it. So it kind of protects the hose a little bit more. So I'm gonna run this second line through here as well. This is it's a tight squeeze here. Pull off the little protective covering here. And then I'm gonna start this one in here as well. Where's the light? I'm sure. Okay, so now I got it on there kind of loose. That way then I can kind of get my angles right on here. And then put the cooler on here. And then we'll put our bolt back in the top here. Yeah, this is gonna be kind of tricky. All right, here we are, present date, and I kind of got myself up to the point to see if this is gonna make it or not. I'm thinking in a certain area it's gonna be a little tricky, but I think we can pull it off. So let me show you what I got. All right, get my rags out the way. It's in. So as y'all remember before, the reservoir for the overfill was right here, keeping this thing, and it was pushing it up and pushing it back. Right now, it's still slightly loose because you don't want to tighten it all the way up yet until it's completely connected and you have everything you wanted. These are loose as well, just so I can move these around a little bit. All right, so we're here, and here. And the little point where I think we're gonna have a little bit of difficulty is right here. Now I'm thinking these are right the way they are. So I'm running them right through there, if you can see, all right here. I'm thinking I might need to go down right in here, but the only way I'm gonna know that is whenever we put the actual oil cooler on and then run the lines to it. So the longer line, which is this one right here, is gonna go all the way up to it's gonna go to the top fitting on the oil cooler. And this one that has this slight bend on it, the shorter hose that's on the left side, is gonna go on the bottom. So let me do the prep work to install the actual brackets that's gonna hold the cooler on. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to move some stuff around. I'm gonna have to look back at the instructions again, but I do know the air temp sensor, which is this one right here, this is gonna have to move. And I'm gonna pull this bolt off right here, disconnect this little connector that's connected down at the bottom right there. I'm gonna get that off of there. And the instructions just telling me to move this oil cooler bracket to this area right here. I'm thinking there's a supplied nut that's gonna go with this to put it behind here. I'm gonna check real quick, and I'm thinking it's wanting us to move the horn as well. Yeah, we're gonna have to move the horn because I think that's gonna be the only way we're gonna be able to screw in the bracket. And then we got to do another bracket thing right here, and I think we're gonna have to remove this. Hold on, I'm not even holding the camera right, y'all. We might have to remove this thing right here. All right, fam, so here we go. So now let's remove this thing. This is gonna be a 12mm socket right here. So we're going to pop this out of there. Be careful, because this is your condenser fan for your AC system. So you gotta be careful not to damage that. So we're gonna pull this out of here. All right, and now we need to take this bracket right here up out of here. This is not gonna be the easiest thing to do here. All right, so what I wound up doing is I just grabbed it with some needle nose and then just twisted and pulled and popped it out of there. It broke it, but we're not gonna use it anyway. It ain't gonna be no more good anyways, because of what we have to do to this area. So the next thing I think we need to do, because I don't want this to be pulling that tight onto this this cable, I'm gonna move this clip. So all you gotta do is just squeeze it right there. These two spots right here, and that will allow it to come out of there. And at this point, I'll flip it on this side and we'll clip it that way. That way then we can put this right here, because this is gonna, your air temp sensor is gonna go right here like this. So that way then we're not putting a whole lot of tension on this here, on that cable. Because there's another harness right underneath here that is branching off from. So you don't wanna be pulling on this right here, because it's right up underneath here. You can feel it underneath the underneath this little plate right here. If you go right under here and underneath your skid plate, you'll feel that thick cable. It's about a thick bundle of cable about that big going all the way across down here on this lower core support. So now we just got to screw that thing in right there. And I believe this thing comes with a bolt and a nut to put this on here with. So let me look for that, and then we can continue on with. All right, it's gonna be a little tricky, but it did supply you with a nut to go on the back of there, and what you're gonna use is the stock bolt that you pulled out that was holding that bracket down for the air temp sensor. You're gonna reuse that, grab your washer and the supplied nut that's in the kit, and put that on there, and then we're gonna thread this thing in there. All right, that is now attached. Now at this point, we can work on the tricky part, which is going to be, we have to enlarge this hole right here. Okay, now it comes to the part where we have to get ready to put our riv nut in, and we have to enlarge this hole, and that's where our 25/64 drill bit comes into play. So now, thing is, right, this, because this is so close to this, but basically just be careful and don't hit your doggone condenser. So now let's start drilling it in. Oh shoot. It's a hard thing not to do, because it just wants to drag you all the way down, and holding it at a weird angle like that. So now we got a little bit of a hard piece right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna file that down, and then we're gonna continue on. I mean, I'm not doing anything but just filing that little piece off right there. All right, so now it's time for the riv nut section of this install. So this is the Rivet Nut, God dog it, I can't talk. This is the Rivet Nut tool that they supply you with in the kit. There's a supplied bolt, washer, and riv nuts. They give you 2 of these just in case you mess up, so you only get 2 tries with this. So what first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put this, the bolt inside of the washer, and then from there, you're gonna have the Rivet Nut tool, washer, and the bolt go right through like that there. Then this right here, This is your bolt. This is your rivet nut. You're gonna bolt that down on there. There. Now that's on there like that. At that point, all you're gonna do is you're gonna drop the rivet nut into the spot that it's gonna go. And it doesn't look like it's going in there flush. And I think it's because of this little part right here. I think I'm gonna have to hammer this down a little bit more. Okay. There we go. Now that is better. It's sitting flush, which is what we want. Now at this point, we're going to use a 10 millimeter socket or wrench, and then we're going to tighten this thing down. And what's going to happen is as we tighten this down, it's going to compress the rivet nut tool to make it attach to the this lower core support here. So let me set this camera up, putting myself in position to start tightening this thing down.
Wanna be it, wanna feel it.
It says to turn this thing until it gets super hard to turn. Like right now, it's giving me quite a bit more tension. And that might be it. So let's see. Let's see what we look like here. And there we go. Rivet nut is installed. So now we can move on to the next part, which is going to be installing the brackets. All right, the upper core support. There's this little wire harness connection zip tie thingy. Yeah, my names, boy, I'm telling you, boy, the names I give this stuff. But all you want to do is you want to pinch that with a needle nose and then just push it out. And you can reach behind here and just pull it off of there. This is all that is. This is just for your trunk release. So, and it'll be fine just right back there, out of the way. Not trunk release, I'm sorry, your hood release. God dog it, man. It's early in the morning, y'all. I'm trying to knock this out because I'm having a rough week. All right, so what we're gonna do here is we're going to, dude, that's pretty god doggone close to that, man. I feel like that's gonna damage something. All right, lower bracket time. So here we go. Gonna put this in. It's crazy that all of this stuff says Perrin on it, but you're not gonna be able to see it. All right. So what we're gonna do, gonna put this and line it right up with that rivet nut. Start fastening this thing down in there. Get it secured. There we go. So now at this point, we got the bracket in. I'm gonna have to adjust this thing a little bit. That's kind of why I left it a little loose. I'm gonna do a test fit with it, along with the oil cooler on there to make sure we got it in the right spot. Then once I got it in the right spot, I'll tighten both of these down all of the way. All right, so I'm running into problems. I'm trying to brainstorm this and figure it out. So just in case you guys have these issues that I'm having, because I'm just determined to put this thing in. After all this work, I don't want to, think of something and come back and take all this stuff apart again. So this is what we got. My issue is this: how the instructions tell you to put this in. They want you to put the top bracket right here, behind here. But when I do that, it puts it too close to the fans on this condenser fan, right? So if you look right here, when you put it on here where it wants you to put the bottom bracket, it sits pretty far away from there. It's a nice gap, and you should have that gap just so you can have that air transfer and not have it be too bad. With it being up here and being directly close, it is pretty much touching these fins with the top bracket. So, plus what you're going in with this right here, which is part of this little cover bracket, it's all metal, I would have to cut that off. And I kind of don't want to cut that off if I don't have to. So my thought process is this top bracket right here, even though it's bent, let me put this down so I don't drop it. It should go in the front. And when I put it in the front, I did notice that they do have some extra washers here. I'm gonna use these washers to put it right here on the front right here. That way then it puts it further enough away from here to where it matches the way it is down here. It'll make sense whenever I start doing it. So I already, you see like this little lip that's right here? I've already started bending this, but I think I'm gonna have to bend this and bend it down that way and curve it the reverse way. That way then I have room to put that top bracket in, and it'll allow me enough space to sit it flush, and it'll be okay. So I'm gonna put you guys on the time lapse while I work through this process, and then we'll see what it turns out to be. So also, in order for me to do it that way, I'm gonna have to put this top bracket on now instead of after the fact. So the top one's gonna go on, and then what I'll have to do is just maneuver it into the bottom one, tighten up that top piece, and then it should be good to go. All right. So let's knock that out, and then let's see how this whole little process turns out. And I'm interested to see if my cross beam over there is still gonna fit. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Right now, this is more important to get this on here. So let's go.
Slide the whip, grab the key, yeah we gone. Life good, what you need, more than you got. Can't pretend I'm rocking with you even if you on. Can't pretend I'm rocking with you even if you slide the whip, grab the key, yeah we gone. Life good, what you need, more than you got.
All right, so there we go. So let me tell you what I got here. So hopefully this works out. I got a nut right here and two of the washers that like with the extra ones. They go right here. So that's in there pretty secure. And hold on, sorry. As you can see right here, the gap is way better than it was. See, before it was touching right here at the top, but at the bottom, you can see how far it is right there. So there's that. And we're fastened on there pretty good. Good to go, didn't have to modify anything else. I only had to bend those back just so they wouldn't hit this bracket right here. Only thing we got left to do here now is just to line up run the hoses right here. Make sure nothing is rubbing, and make sure it's not stretched out too thin, and make sure of that routing, if I have to reroute these hoses. That's the only thing we got left. So now it's just we're just gonna move on to this next stage. All right now. So this is what's next, man. We're gonna try and run these run these hoses over to these. Now, if you can see here, it seems to be like it's a tight stretch there. But if I come around here, this gives me that extra slack I need going in front of that instead of going behind it. So maybe I need to go this route. I'm gonna see, but I'm gonna put you guys on a time lapse and y'all can watch me struggle through trying to tighten these things on here, and hopefully I don't have to take them off up top first, put them on down here, and then put them on up top. So we'll see.
Slide the whip, grab the key, yeah we gone. Life good, what you need, more than you got. Can't pretend I'm rocking with you even if you on. Can't pretend I'm rocking with you even if you slide the whip, grab the key, yeah we gone. Life good, what you need, more than you got. Can't pretend I'm rocking with you even if you on. Can't pretend I'm rocking if you.
All right, fam, so it looks like the socket that I got is not thin-walled enough because it's not fitting around this little area right here. So I'm gonna have to use a crescent to tighten this bolt down. It's only supposed to be 26 foot-pounds, so that shouldn't be too difficult of a task to hit by hand. That should be good, man. It ain't going nowhere. And now all we gotta do is put the oil filter back on and start this thing up. Do the little process that it requires you to do to get oil in there. And then it should be a wrap after that. So let's check it out. All right, y'all. So basically what the instructions is telling me is that what I need to do is get the key, put it in the car, turn it to the on position, put my foot on the throttle and push it all the way down to the floor. Make it put it at 100% throttle. And then try and start the car. And by doing that, it's saying that the car should not start and it'll just cycle through. And I need to hold that for 5 seconds. And then do the same process again for another 5. Wait 10 seconds. Then go try it again for another 5 seconds. And then after that, once I do that process, then it says to start the car. Let it run for 5 seconds. Shut the engine off. Inspect everything and make sure we ain't got no leaks. Then again, it says to, after that, if I don't see no leaks, start the engine again and let it run for at least 5 minutes. And while it's running for that 5 minutes, I need to check for leaks and all of that stuff. So kind of nervous about this part, but I'm about to do it. We're gonna see what happens. So the car's in the on position right now. So now I'm gonna go to 100% throttle, and then we're gonna try and start it. 4, 5. Wait 10 seconds. And then try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then stop. At that point, then start the car for like 5 seconds and let it run. And then let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn the car off. Now let's go check and see if we got any leaks. All right. So looking at this here, we are good to go. Uh-oh, wait a minute. Are we good to go? Do I see some leakage? Oh, what is that? Looking. I don't see nothing. Nothing's wet. I don't see any leakage around here, around these fittings. We're good to go. So now, let's run this bad boy for 5 minutes. So let me start it again. Good so far. No leaks, no nothing. All right, so y'all, I'm gonna keep an eye on this for like 5 minutes. If I don't see anything wrong, then I'll turn you guys back on and let you know what's going on. All right, fam. So, got done running the car for 5 minutes. As I was watching it, didn't notice anything crazy, nothing strange. Everything's good. I don't see any leaks. So at this point, all I got to do is add another quart of oil. It says add another quart of oil to the engine because it's probably I think that freaking the cooler hold plus the lines probably holds another quart of oil. Do a test drive for like 15 minutes, and then after you do that drive for 15 minutes, you know, check again for oil, any oil leaks, and then drive it again. It said after about 2 hours of driving. So for me, that'll probably be like a few days. Do 2 hours of driving. Once I do that, come back, check all my fittings and make sure everything is cool. So because this video is about to be super duper long, this video is just gonna be about the install of it. I did shoot some footage of, you know, my temps and all of that beforehand. And then I'm gonna ride the same path that I rode when I recorded that footage to see what my temps look like after the fact. And then I'm gonna do a video on that and pretty much do a review of it. But I'm noticing, because my car is a 2020, it looks different than what's on the paper, especially the pictures that they have. So mine is different, so I had to do a little bit of modifying, which I showed y'all what that was. Do that, and then you should be good to go. If I have any issues with fitment, we're putting everything back together. Matter of fact, before I do anything, let me go ahead and start putting this thing together before we close out the video. And if I have any issues, I'll let you know, and then we'll close out the video. All right, bad news. I'm not gonna be able to run my little cross beam here. And for me, I guess I'm not gonna be able to use the cross brace because right now, once I tighten this down right here, and I'm really gonna have to redo these because I had to push this back on this side. You remember before I had it in front of here. I had to put it back here just so I can get the crash beam on there. But in doing that, it's a little bit tight right here. So, which means I'm gonna have to help it give a little bit. So now once I tighten this all the way down, you can see it's hitting right here on this line. I don't need any extra vibration causing me an oil leak, so not worth it. So I am gonna be taking this off. All right, so here we go. This is the finished product with the behind the crash beam. Even with that bar right there, it does block off some airflow to here, which this already blocks enough. I don't need to block anymore, so it'll probably be, it's probably all for the best that I not have that on here. Because like I say, even putting that beam, that cross brace on here, it does put it close to this. Not too close, but close enough. Also, the horn, I didn't have to move it. I didn't have to do anything to it. I didn't even have to touch it. So the way I did all of this, it works out perfectly fine. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video up here because I still gotta paint that grill because this video is already super duper long. I don't wanna drag it out any longer. So we'll just do a separate video with a review of everything that happened. So appreciate y'all, man. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. I will link all of this stuff down in the description. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified whenever I put out a video. And until the next video, fam, peace.